Welcome to the Ignite Christian Business Podcast. We have a double feature for you today. Jared Wiese of Wiese Seed and Dawson Heinert of Eagle Edge Custom Furniture. Jared and Dawson are both family men of integrity, business owners with vision who have prioritized following Jesus in their vocation and pursuit of excellence. Let's dive right in.
Hey guys, Craig Booyer, Ignite Christian Business. And first of all, I want to tell you guys, I'm so excited about Ignite 22. We've got some great people, great speakers, some real great surprises that I think you're going to really love. So I'm excited about the next steps here. You're going to hear about these in just a short time. But I'm really excited about today. I've got a good friend of mine, Jared Wiese with Wiese Seed, and him and I've had a chance to hang out with him. He's in a Bible study with some other guys his age that we meet, try to meet every week, but it's usually about every other week we get together. And I'm so excited about having this talk with you, Jared. And gosh, I remember some of the funny stuff that you and I've been around. Remember when you was riding bulls there for a while with Dawson?
Tried to ride bulls, yeah.
Oh gosh, how many did you get on?
I don't know, probably 5 or 6. I didn't follow through like Garrett and Dawson did. So.
Yeah, well, I don't know. That's, to me, my hat's off to those guys. My hat's off to you. You just did it though. You did it.
We had a blast. It was fun times.
All right. So what was the longest ride?
I think actually my first one was probably my longest ride. It might have been 6 seconds, and then
really,
I just kind of got worse after that. So.
It's like you need Velcro or something. But man,
yeah.
It's just, to me, even helping you guys get on these bulls, I think that's, I don't know. Sometimes they get on these bulls and I'm thinking, what in the world are you guys thinking? But man, we've had some fun times. So here you are. You're a business owner. Wiese Seed. Has this always been a dream of yours?
You know, I've always, since I was a little kid, I knew I wanted to be involved in agriculture. And we've been very fortunate my wife and I, as a younger couple, taken off with farming, and what we've done, we've came across some opportunities that most would die for, and the seed business kind of spiraled from that. Had a farming friend of mine that said that there was an opening and called the guy, and I ended up becoming a dealer for Pioneer Seeds, and just kind of took off from that, and I've grown that along with the farming, and it's kind of just our passion.
I always love it. And it seems like it's always when you don't want to do it, but in fact Jared and Tyler couldn't make it to Ignite 21 because it was right kind of at the tail end of harvest. So, but I'm looking forward to having you guys in July. But I'll come into the shop here, and here Jared is, got grease on him and everything else, and doing most of the repairs. But of course, you're always doing the repairs when you don't want to do the repairs. It always seems like it's breaking down either right in the middle of harvest or right in the middle of planting. So Jared, so it's always been your dream, but how did you, I mean, you're messing with the big equipment. Have you always just been around that?
Yeah, you know, we've always been involved with some hay baling and things like that, and my in-laws have been good to help us get going with that side of things. And like I said, just the way God works with timing, and we've just kind of slowly grown it every year with opportunities that have came along and guys that have retired, and yeah, it just it's been great.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So Jared, with talking about Jesus in the business, obviously you don't have hundreds of employees running around, but how does Jesus make a difference in what you do here at Wiese Seed?
Well, farming is how do I word it? It requires ton of faith to go out and plant millions of seeds on all your acres and have faith that they will grow. And not only that, if not only will they grow, you get three quarters of the way through the season, and you get a storm that comes through and just wipes it all away. And just having faith that God will continue to provide.
Wow, I guess you don't think about that sometimes. I mean, what a story just on faith alone, because you're putting, and it's not just the seed. I mean, we're talking money.
Yeah,
you're putting some money in the ground. I mean, have you ever thought about how much money is sitting in the ground after planting season?
It's crazy. It really is.
Wow. So you're having faith that we're gonna have the weather. You're gonna have enough moisture. And yeah, some of those storms that we've had come through Nebraska have wiped out some crops. There was one time. Tell us that story, Jared, where it happened during, I don't remember what it was. It was a frost or something where you had to replant? How does that work? Where you planted the crop, it started to come up, and I don't know if it was a heavy frost, or something that wiped out the crops, and you actually went back and replanted and had a harvest.
Yeah, so sometimes if you get out there too early, the weather can be great in the spring in Nebraska, and it'll look like the next 10 days it's going to be in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Well, and then if you get that, like soybeans especially, if they come out of the ground and you've had great weather and they're thriving and growing, and all of a sudden, you know how it is in April, and even beginning of May, you can have, things can change in a real hurry, and you get one night where it drops down to 25 degrees for too long, and they get a frost on them, and it'll kill the soybeans off, and yeah, you got to go out there and replant.
Wow.
So.
Wow. Yeah, it's crazy. I always love coming around here. I love hanging out with you guys and kind of seeing what you do, how you do it, and you kind of dabbled in the cattle business there for a while, and of course we've got a small herd of cattle this year, but they're pregnant. And that's going to double the size of our herd. And I love this industry. I love the ag business.
It's a passion.
It is.
It's a lifestyle that, yes, there's risk, but there's reward of watching your seeds grow and your livestock reproduce, and it's tending to the Lord's creation. The farming, taking care of the land, and all that kind of thing.
So it's so biblical, talking about planting that seed and waiting for the harvest. And I think it's actually what you're doing every single season. You're actually planting and waiting for that harvest. Jared, what's next for you? I mean, you're doing what you love, but what's as somebody in your line of work, what's your next goal within farming?
I would say I'd like to grow my business enough to eventually, we have 2 kids right now. I would like to, when they get to the right age, I'd like to get them involved and build something that I can hand down to them. And I think that's what is awesome about farming, is obviously they don't make any more land. And sometimes, some people are just so disconnected with the ag industry, mm-hmm. and we get a bad rep from some people. And I think that's complete opposite. Like I said before, we're tending to the land that God created. And obviously we wouldn't want to damage something, the land or the environment. We want to make it better, so it continues to reproduce and feed our family, and hand something down to the next generation that does better for them. And they're not making more ground, so we got to find ways to make the ground we have better as cities grow and population grows.
That is, wow, that is so good. What's that song? Buy Dirt.
Buy Dirt. Yeah.
So one thing I've always wanted for Jared to do is to get a piece of ground that has enough trees on it so that I can hunt deer on it, for crying out loud. Come on.
Sounds easy.
Yeah, it sounds easy. So Jared, what is it? So you've got, and this is what I love about the group of guys that we meet with, and Jared being one of those. And it's that younger generation, but here you are, that younger generation coming up, but here you are, a business owner, successful business owner. How do we reach your generation? You want to, it's a generation that, I don't want to say my generation has ignored, but my generation is just now realizing that it's not about us. It's about that younger generation. It's about my kids, and you're the same age as my kids, and it's about you, and it's about your kids, my grandkids. How do we reach effectively your generation for Christ, and just for, you and I've had many conversations, even here, about politics, and politics affect the farming community, I think, so much more than someone that's working downtown Omaha in a brick and mortar building, because you see it, you feel it, some of those decisions that are made. But how do we communicate that? How do we get the word out there about Christ, but just truth? How do we do that?
Boy, that's tough. Obviously, we're in some not so good times. I think we need to surround ourselves with the right people. Be careful who we listen to. We'd like to think social media would reach people, but it's almost like social media has turned to steer people in the wrong directions. So, and that's, so many young people are on that kind of stuff. That's a tough one.
Yeah, and it even, great answer. Even though it's a tough one. It really is. And Christ is the answer. We know that. But at the same time, it's my generation. It was so much about the church, and the church was the answer, almost to a point where it was almost more church than it was Jesus. You need to come to church, and now it's we are the church, and we have to get that word out to everybody, your generation included. And it's just, Jared, I love hanging out with you. I love the things that you're doing. But here this is what I don't know. This is just on my heart. I just see you. I see you out in the field working and talking to one of your other farmers that you're selling seed to, and I see you praying over people. I see people coming to you and talking about some of their health needs, and you praying, and the Holy Spirit just falling on that field, and healing taking place right there in a cornfield. I don't know what that is. It's just something I just see that. Mm-hmm. And I just want to encourage you to keep the faith, keep Christ first in everything that you do, then your family. And he's got a great family. Got 2 great kids, a great wife, and I think it's fantastic. But just keep the faith, keep pressing on, don't give up, don't get discouraged. And you're right, hang around the right people, people that are going to lift you up and encourage you. I'll end with this, guys. Jesus is in business. Is he in yours? Hey guys, Craig Booyer, Ignite Christian Business. I'm so pumped about today. Earlier we had a chance to interview Jared Wiese with Wiese Seeds, and had a fun time with him. And now I get a chance to talk to another friend of mine, Dawson Heinert, and I'm so excited to do that. So excited what God's doing in your life and the new things he's got in store for you. But before we get started, just a couple of funny things that Dawson and I have a chance to do. We're kind of in the cattle business together, and Dawson always gets the I guess the bad part of every time we're putting the doing something with the cows. He's got to do the hard part and bring the cattle in and push them up the chutes, and I'm just opening and closing the gate on it. And
sometimes he misses them.
Sometimes I miss them, but Dawson, we're always yelling at Dawson to bring him in slow, or something's happening. He's got one going in the wrong way. So Dawson is one of those kids. He's just like a lot of fun to tease and give a bad time to. We blame everything on you.
Oh yeah.
So you've got to stick around, just so we're not blaming each other. We just got to blame Dawson for it. But Dawson, I'm excited about what God has for you and what He's doing in your and Zoe's life. I really am. And it's fun. It's exciting for me. I love to see your generation taking those next steps and doing something, not just sitting around and waiting. You're going for it. You've got something in your heart, that dream. You're praying about it, and then you're doing it. I love to see that. So you were at the last Ignite event.
Yep.
And man, it just seems like it was just a few months ago. But what was some of the thing? What'd you get out of it? What was some of the highlights you got out of that?
Yeah. So for me, the main part was the speakers. I really enjoyed listening to them. They were awesome. Like, they explained like their ideas and their different perspectives of the business world, and keeping Jesus in the middle of your business, like you said. And I really look forward to talking to a lot of them, and talking to the attendees there that really had different ideas. And since I'm just starting out with my business, I'd like to take what I like from them and implement it into my business and my life as well.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good. And what I think a lot of us want to create here is something to where there's so many in my generation that started in business and didn't have something like this that we can bounce ideas off of, or listen to someone else has been down that path already, and maybe we have an opportunity to miss some of those mistakes that we made. So I love this Ignite community that's starting to really pull together, and again, Dawson, I think this is awesome. This is wonderful. Tell us about what are you doing? What's this that you're doing with the woodworking? I know the furniture and stuff like that. And by the way, I think we're counting. It's either 8 or 9 pieces I've got in my own house of Dawson's work that he does, and it's absolutely fantastic. And I think we'll have some information of how to get a hold of Dawson and see some of the projects that he has done. Over here, we've got him working on a custom pool table, which is, gosh, it looks unbelievable. So, but Dawson, what's this call you have on your life? Why this woodworking stuff?
Yeah, so in high school, I took shop class, and that's kind of where it started. I took a welding class to start in my junior year, and it just, from the get-go, I had a passion to build things with my hands and just build things. And I always appreciated my shop teacher. He always encouraged us to, be creative and just build stuff in shop class. And we had certain projects we had to build, but I was always on my own, building my own stuff. And I actually made a pool table in high school. That was my first one, and now I'm making one for my buddy Jared. So, and it's been awesome. But from the get-go, I've always had a passion for it, and I've always wanted to make it a career out of it. And God is helping me so far, and I'm getting closer and closer to making it full time. So.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. So what about this? You always like this exotic wood or this different wood that you come. How are you finding some of this stuff?
Yeah, so we have a guy in Louisville, Nebraska. He has a local sawmill, and he has sourced it from Costa Rica. This exotic wood, it's from Costa Rica, and they ship it in big containers, and he gets big loads of it, like tons of it, just a big load of just exotic woods, and they unload it and just put it in their shop, and you can go in there like a store basically and pick it out what kind of slab you want for your project or whatever you're working on. So. Wow, that's pretty cool. And then you work with cedar and oak, and I mean basically, how do you know what wood to use for a coffee table, an end table? I mean, is there a certain go-to, or is the client coming to you and saying, I want this kind of wood? Yeah, so basically I ask the client what they prefer, and then sometimes I'll implement my opinion on what they would need for that certain situation.
Mm-hmm.
So like you wanted pine because you had pine walls.
Yeah.
So I wanted to match the walls, so we used pine there, and it just depends on the certain situation what they want and what they want for color and just functionality. So
Wow, that's so cool. So woodworking, a carpenter. I mean, we kind of talked about how cool it is that Jesus was a carpenter. Dawson? What's he doing in your life? What's he doing? I know you just recently got married. You had a really cool pastor that married you guys. So they asked me to marry these guys. So I go online and get this goofy deal, and now I can marry him. So it's that's a long story, but I love this couple and just love what God's doing. But what's he doing in your life?
Yeah, so God has been a crucial part of my life for as long as I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
He guides my path, and I make sure that he is involved in everything I do. Because if he's not, then just what I'm doing is not worth it. If he's not in my life, in my business, in my everyday life, it's not going to work out if he's not in it. So
wow.
I just make sure to pray over my business, pray over my life, pray over my my relationship with my wife,
Mm-hmm.
and everything will work out if he's involved.
That's so good. That's so good. So Dawson, full time, you want to be able to do this full time, and I know you got a bunch of stuff going on, so that until you can get this and support that. That's a goal. That's a great goal to have. But what's the bigger picture? Have you thought of that? What is that bigger picture? What's the ultimate goal that you want to be able to do?
Yeah. So we have a Bible study with
Mm-hmm.
4 of us, and
Yep.
one thing I've learned a lot is being bold about your faith.
Yeah.
And I want this business to really show that I'm bold in my faith and bold in my relationship with God, and somehow I can implement that with my business. And I just want to be the company in Omaha, Nebraska, and maybe someday, like nationwide, just be the best company that builds furniture and the best table building company.
Wow, that's a pretty cool goal. Dawson, I think one day you will. I really do. I love watching you grow. He was this, when I first met Dawson, we're great friends with the family. He was this little punk kid. Now he's a tall kid, and I don't know how many bowls I've actually put you on, and you and your brother, and man, we've had a lot of fun. I know you're not riding bulls anymore, but man, this some of the stuff you've done, and I know I love watching you excel, watching you just go for it, and I don't know what it is about a rodeo. It's about the guts it takes to get onto a bull. I don't know if it's guts or if it's just, I don't know. You're nuts.
A lot of people call me crazy.
But it's been fun. He's won a lot of rodeos, and it's been a lot of fun to watch him and his brother. Love that family. But Dawson, I just think God's hand is on you. I love what you're doing, and even with your goals, to have that as a goal. You've seen other companies out there, and it's time for the believers to step up. It's time for the Christian business owner to take a stand. And we talk about it in our Bible study. And God's given us a voice, and I think it's time we start using that voice. We just can't sit back. We can't sit on the sidelines and holler about everybody else and all the things that are wrong. I think it's time that the business owners, Christian business owners, come together and unite and have that voice once again, and I think we can accomplish a great deal, and I believe that's what this whole Ignite, not just the conference, but this whole Ignite community. I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And Dawson, my prayer over you and your wife is that God will continue to bless you, bless your business, and bless everything that you're doing. And you're a great guy.
Yeah.
You're a great man of God. We need more Dawson Heinerts in the world.
Well, Craig, I appreciate you doing this for me, and I appreciate you doing this Ignite conference. It's really, crucial to a lot of people, because a lot of people don't have a lot of, people to go to for advice like me. I have this conference I can go to. I can learn so much from all these business owners and Christian business leaders to, just learn from them and what to do and what not to do and stuff like that. So
that's good. That's
I
good.
appreciate it.
Absolutely. And guys, that's what it is. That's what it's all about. This is what it's for. Let me end with this. Jesus is in business. Is He in yours?
We hope that you've enjoyed this episode of the Ignite Christian Business Podcast. Head to ignite-cb.com to learn more and join our mailing list for the latest updates, event information, and early release content. Our intro and outro music, Do It Now, was performed and graciously provided by Jasmine Brady. For more on Jasmine, you can head to jasminebrady.com. You can also find Jasmine's fantastic music on your favorite streaming platform today. Thank you for listening. Remember, Jesus is in business. Is He in yours?